Well, after Bad Boys for Life, we wanted to do something even bigger, and we were asking ourselves, what is the next step? And the next step was obviously Marvel, because that's the biggest in the biz, and we had to be part of that. And we were kind of saying, if we're gonna do something, joking around, it's gonna have to be a Muslim character, not knowing that actually there was a Muslim character that we were planning to do a show on. It was Miss Marvel, and we discovered the comics, fell in love with the character and the world, and that's how it all started. That's how we convinced Kevin to give it to us.
So yeah, for us, we didn't know the comic book. So after we discovered, we just fell in love with Kamala and her family and her world, and we just read all the comic books. And we were like, we need to capture this vibrancy, this colorfulness, this world on the big screen. So for us, that was a challenge, and sometimes we were just copying some scenes from the comic book itself to the screenplay, and also that we wanted to do an homage to the comic book aesthetic, and that's why we injected the animation into it, because it was not really present in the script. So we were thinking, is Marvel going to accept this animation element we want to put in, because it portrays her, her fantasy, or her imagination. And when we told it, and when we made our case with Kevin, he said, I love it. So he just accepted, and he said, when you use it, then you use it for a good reason. So that's how big the influence was from the comic book itself.
Well, there's a multiple level. On one hand, it's we have a personal connection with the character, being Muslim Pakistani girl, a teenager, searching herself, searching her own identity. It relates to us in a way that we are Moroccan Belgians and we're Muslim, and also we had the same struggles when we were teenagers, not knowing where we belong, who we need to be, what is our destiny. So throughout all of our work and interests, that's something that you always see. There's a kind of identity crisis that we have in all our characters, and at the same time, it's just we love everything that has vibrant colors, cool camera movements, and that's why we look at a lot of John Hughes movies, Spike Lee movies, Steven Spielberg, and we try to have that kind of vibe and care of character into Kamala Khan. Well, for the first one, directing the first episode, the challenge is that you want to, tell the world that you have this person, this teenager, and make the world care about her and follow her without necessarily all the way or right away go with the superpowers. You still want to, lay out who she is, who are her family and friends, and why it's important that we follow her, and then making a charming, endearing character that eventually is gonna fall into that extraordinary story of superpowers in the larger MCU. So that was like the I would say the biggest challenge, like creating that empathy for somebody that the whole world doesn't know yet.
And then episode 6, it was like, it's the final episode. It's a moment that Kamala Khan becomes Miss Marvel. So that was like, it's like a closure to the whole journey. And for us as directors, it's the first time that we work with this big Marvel machine, and using all this blue screen and green screen, not seeing what is happening. But we had the best of the best in the world, so we were in good hands, and I think we made a spectacular ending with Miss Marvel.
Well, the comic book characters already there on the page were very diverse, so it was just logical as we do the adaptation that our cast would reflect the diversity of the comic book, which on its own reflects the diversity of society, the countries everywhere in the world, and just also the fandom, who's very diverse on its own. And having people of Pakistani origin, that just added more to the authenticity. Iman Vellani, Pakistani girl, so she lived through all of that, and she added from her own background, and that's every single cast member added more to the character than was on the page, and it just did it with so much natural flair that it just felt as if we were witnessing a real family coming to life.
Iman is a blessing. She first time I saw her in the casting, I thought she's destined to be Kamala Khan, because her real life story really is parallel with Kamala Khan's. Iman is a Pakistani Canadian girl, and she's also between those two worlds, but she's also at the same time a big Marvel fan, and she's like a Marvel expert. She knows everything. She's like an encyclopedia. And she's also somebody who's, you know, her favorite movie is Iron Man, and Kevin Feige is her idol, and she's also a cinephile. She knows a lot about movies. So for us, it was working with a film director herself, because she knew a lot about, you know, making movies and talking about the character and the story. She was very smart in that way, that she really augmented the story, but also her character. She gives so much soul to the character that it's really the heart and soul of the whole show.
Well, the thing is that you have a character that is different from all the other characters. That is a Muslim character, and it's a female Muslim character, which is important for, like, I would say, all the Muslim girl in the world. It makes us think of all the Muslim women of our lives that we try to pay homage to, whether it's my wife or his sister, our mothers and nieces. So it's cool to have somebody that represents them, and at the same time, I think that what was so good about the comic books, and that's what we try to adapt to in TV show. I mean, Iman does a great job in that. Is that it's a universal story that everybody can relate to her. Everybody can feel empathy and care for her and find her endearing and follow her journey as a character and her story. Even if you are not a Muslim girl, and that is also the beautiful aspect of Marvel and entertainment overall, that you care about people that are, like, seem very different from yourself, but at the same time, you know, has these universal values.
Well, I hope, you know, that people will love Kamala Khan and love her family, because her real superpower is her family and friends. And that they, you know, that you follow her journey, because, you know, in this show she's like trying to find her identity, and step by step she's gonna embrace her, you know, her Pakistani culture, American culture, and she's gonna become Miss Marvel. And there is such a big future ahead for her that I hope that the audience will grow with her, like, you know, like we do with Peter Parker, who's from Queens, and that's kind of for us like the bar. We want Miss Marvel to have a long life.